Hi, you join us here today in conversation with Dave Cullen, CEO of Euro Car Parks, who are on the European list of best workplaces and also spent the last 2 years as Ireland's best SME workplace. Dave, can you give me a sense of the importance of the leader and the role a leader plays in creating a great place to work?
I guess my philosophy is simple, and it's one I guess I learned as I grew up. It's one of listening. And really comes down to, if you want to narrow it down, I know there are all the cliches, but it is one of listening. And I think, like any workplace is like anywhere else, it's about relationships. And I have to confess, my wife keeps telling me that relationships are based on listening. So really, to succeed, you have to listen probably more than you do talk. And that's the way we run our business. It's very much me taking information and knowledge from my staff, and they're the ones who do the job day in, day out. I sit in the ivory tower at times, very removed from it. So it's by listening to them we push forward, and I suppose the fact that they are engaging makes them feel more part of a good workplace. A couple of years ago, I liked talking the talk about listening, but in fact, I wasn't, and decided a few years ago to listen. You actually have to set time aside. And you have to physically lock yourself in a room and get in touch with people or go out and see them. And that's easier said than done, particularly in the last couple of years where there's more pressures on people and you're fighting battles and trying to keep business and retain business and juggle all the balls. It's very easy to lose sight that the staff are out there still doing their job, and you have to physically push yourself to pick up the phone and keep in touch. Something I actually diary, because you really do have to do it, and it has to be an ongoing process as well. Probably my father would have been the biggest influence, in that I did UCD, and I got my formal training there and went off to become an accountant. And I learned kind of business with ESO and property companies and that. But my father, who ran Arinta, would have been very great influence in me. And I recall, like, when he retired, when I picked him up after his retirement due, I said, "You'll really miss the airport now." And he said, "I won't miss it at all." Having been there all his life, he said, "But God, will I miss the people?" And I suppose that stuck in my mind, and it still has. And I think I feel the same as well about our people. Will I miss the business? I could get over pretty quickly. Will I miss the people? Definitely. The people here are my friends now, and that's our culture, I guess. That we are a big team, and we all muck in, good times and bad times. We've had bad times. I've had to ask the staff to row in and make sacrifices, but we're all still here to tell the tale. I think one of the things we had to do a couple of years ago was to make a very conscious decision between profit and people. And I was willing to sacrifice the profit to keep some of the key people in the business. We're back growing again, thankfully, and at least to have those key people, and they're more on board than ever. So, we've great opportunity now to capitalise over the next year or two on the strengths that we have, both financial and resource-wise. So, I think that is the good investment. And at times, it's very easy to make that choice, whether, we can just let somebody go and make an extra few quid. It's a choice that hasn't sat well with me, and I'm glad now in hindsight we sacrificed a bit of profit to keep our key strengths, which are our people.
So it's one thing you having this tone from the top as such, but how do you ensure that you can kind of cascade that amongst your management team all the way down through the organisation?
The business, we've been very lucky, and I suppose maybe when you have an idea of the type of business you want, it also kind of forms in your mind the type of people you want to hire. So as we've evolved, the management team are all very like-minded and actually didn't need to be taught it. I mean, a lot of our staff have been promoted from within. So again, a bit like me, they understand what the business is. They understand, the difficulties some of the staff have, and in that way, there's no way of formally training that, I don't think, but we've just ended up that way. So yes, I can disappear for months or I can retire, whatever. The business will keep going, and the staff. And I think as the staff continue to come into the business in managerial roles, that culture will. And I really hope it does remain like that.
So talking about the importance of culture, how would you define the culture that you've created here at Euro Car Parks?
I guess the biggest thing is that all the staff are engaged. They have to be engaged. I mean, we have some very remote workers down in, the southwest, down in Kerry, up in the northwest, in Donegal and that, who would be working on their own. Their next employee would be 20, 30 miles away. Now they're visited regularly, but they feel as much a part of it as, say, somebody working here in the office. And again, that's the whole communication channels. I tell the stories, warts and all. If we're having a bad time or bad month or we're losing business, I tell them. So everybody is really as up to speed as I am, and it doesn't really matter what part of the country you're in. So I think if you're honest and you share good news and bad news, and probably bad news shows your honesty a bit more, that we have full buy-in. And again, we have this informal communication lines that they're quite likely to, as likely to pick up the phone to me as vice versa. So I suppose participation and engagement, which was our biggest challenge, and that's why we started the process, to get feedback. And we've developed upon that, and I think that's probably the key to it. I'd like to think we're non-hierarchical, genuinely do. So when I meet the guys, it's how you Dave and what's happening and how's your sailing, or I'll ask them, what holidays or whatever. So I really do feel that it's a flatline business. I know in reality it's not, but it feels like it to us. And I think for both sides. So yeah, I mean, the direct line is something that I suppose I take it for granted. People have my mobile and I ring them at day and night and they ring me day and night. It doesn't feel to me, and I don't believe it feels like the staff, that we have this hierarchical structure. If they have something that they think they should be sharing or tell me about, good or bad or indifferent, they'll pick up the phone, and vice versa. So it all feels very informal to me. And I think that's the way it has to be. I think everybody feels fully as much a part of the business as I am. I can come and go as much as they can. So, to evolve that culture, I suppose that there's an air of informality about it.
So Dave, could you give me a little insight into the business benefits of being a great place to work?
The staff are our ambassadors. So if they feel that they're working in a best workplace, they perform better. There's just no doubt about it. When I go and see a client, my references are my staff. I give them a list of all our sites and say, go talk to any one of them. They'll give you an honest feeling as to what we're like. There's no point in asking me or asking clients. Go and ask our staff. I would like, I guess, and it will continue without me, because I know that the whole core culture is there, and the successful culture will continue without me, and I know it'll continue to be a good workplace just because it has good people. So we will continue to attract good people because we have good people, and there are people who are just normal, day-to-day guys and girls who go out, do their job, work hard, but have a bit of fun and have a bit of dignity, I suppose, and dedication doing it day in, day out. I don't think there's any rocket science to it, but that certainly, I think, will continue without me. And if I left tomorrow, it will continue.
Dave, thanks a million for your time and for giving us those great insights into how you run your business and how you've created a great place to work.